Welcome back to D1 Rejects. This is episode 98. We've got Trey Botts from Colorado State-Pueblo joining the show today, as well as Jimmy Martin, the D3 insider for D1 Rejects. A lot of good stuff on today's episode. As you can hear the giggle, I'm joined by Tyshawn King. Get the headphones on. And you got K-Man's on the seat as well. What's going on,
How we doing,
fellas?
How we doing?
Oh, some words of wisdom for us? Nothing.
No longer Division One reject. I'm
No
a Division
longer.
One acceptee.
Acceptant.
The D1 insider. Fuck you, freak you, talking about. My bad, Sarah.
But on today's show, moving on to the D2 side of things, we got some D2, NAIA, and D3 players getting chances in the NFL. 2 D2 guys drafted. We had a long list more that have signed on as undrafted free agents. Also, some that are getting some rookie minicamp invites. Excited to talk about all those guys. As far as the NFL side of things go, recap the draft a little bit, more so on the Lions. And they're catching a lot of flack for their draft. I think undeservingly so, but we'll talk about that and a couple more big-time picks from the draft. Jimmy's going to talk to us about the biggest Division III games look forward to this fall, and also some D3 guys, like we said, getting some chances at the next level. And also a video I want to watch later, that clip of Deuce Vaughn. His dad is...
Oh, that's dope, yeah.
What's his dad's name?
I don't know his dad's name, but...
It's getting away from me right now. But
Chris Vaughn.
Chris Vaughn, the assistant college scouting director for the Cowboys, drafting his son Deuce Vaughn out of Kansas State. We've got a pretty cool video and reaction for that later. Probably what made my draft night. That was so sweet.
For sure,
so
that's sweet.
all that and more coming up. But as always, you can watch this episode on YouTube. Don't forget about the timestamps on the bottom of the screen there. Fast forward to any part of that conversation that sounds interesting. Listen pretty much anywhere, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, and follow us on Twitter at D1_Rejects, Instagram at Division1 Rejects to see highlights from the show. Let's get to the conversation with the All-American defensive lineman, now Baltimore Ravens signee, Trey Botts. Joining the show tonight, a man that just signed with the Baltimore Ravens as an undrafted free agent. He was previously selected in the USFL draft, which I'm excited to talk about as well. An All-American defensive lineman out of Colorado State-Pueblo. It's Trey Botts. What's going on, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excited, dude. Really excited. And like I was telling you before we got on, just seeing all these guys from our level, and then you get some guys from NAIA and D3 that are getting some of these camp invites. Seeing them get opportunities like you is awesome, man. It's a really cool time to be a part of this community.
Yeah, it's big time. It's big time. It's cool. We all probably had similar college stories, little grinds, under recruited out of high school, stuff like that. But if you can play, they'll find you. So
yeah, that's what they say, right? And we'll talk about it a little bit later. But like only 2 D2 guys drafted this year, which was pretty surprising because at least on our scene, I felt like there was a good level of hype around a couple of guys at different spots across the country, and it took until really late in the 7th round for either of them to get selected. So. Either way, right? Guys are getting opportunities. Guys like yourself are going to go and you're going to earn it. But you signed yesterday. What was that experience like watching the draft? And, you watch it every year, but this time around, little extra incentive watching it. Even if you didn't think, hey, maybe I don't get picked today, like in the back of your mind, I got to imagine, like, what if? Like, what if this team really likes me and just takes a chance?
Yeah, no, for sure. It was cool watching it this year. Definitely watched it a little differently, just knowing that I'm gonna be in this position. That's all it was just watching people in my position and seeing where they end up. That's really it. It was exciting. Yeah. It was fun to watch.
What's it like seeing, you're watching, obviously when you see a guy from your position group go to a certain team, that's got to be something like, I know we were looking for Jake Witt, our guy, like every time an offensive lineman or specifically a tackle would go, we'd be like, that's one less, right? One less on the board in front of him that now your chances get better and better. What was that feeling like?
That's exactly right. Like how you said with the offensive lineman, it's just watching people that are in front of you and, all the rankings and stuff that come out. You've seen all the names in front of you and stuff. So it's cool to see them go off the board and it's like, okay, now they're somewhere else. So that's another spot for the next man, really.
Yeah, 100%. Now, before the draft, before the free agent calls, I'm sure you feel that came in afterwards. Did you have a pretty good idea of where you sat and where you'd be given evaluations potentially by some of these teams, or did you go into it a little bit blind?
We honestly went into it pretty blind. Yeah, I mean it was a pretty late start for all that. So I played at the CGS. I played down there at
Okay.
that game, and not a whole lot from that. I didn't hear a whole lot, so I was kind of just expecting, I just really just wanted to get a shot, and that's really it. That's where we were.
I hear you. What is the timeline like? Run me through it a little bit as far as that last pick in the draft to the point where potentially some phone calls are coming in or you're working with your agent to try and get a deal done and figure out what teams are showing interest. What is that timeline like?
So for me, it was actually a little interesting. On Saturday, like I get a call from my agent around like sixth round,
Okay.
and he's just telling me what we got, what we're working with, and the Ravens in specific were the team. It was the team that was the most interested in me. I'd say from this whole process for sure.
Gotcha.
And I get a call from him, and we talk it through. He's like, "Do you want to? We gonna do this?" And I'm like, I was kind of asking you the same thing.
That's
And,
pretty good, dude.
and he, but we got it done. So I was committed, or whatever you want to call it, to the Ravens before the draft was even over. So
Really?
kind of before the draft was over, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So did the Ravens have a 7th round pick? Do you know?
They didn't originally, and then they traded back and got one. And
Okay.
they drafted a kid from USC.
Gotcha.
He did the most reps at the combine this year.
Oh, the O-lineman that tore his ACL.
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
I do remember seeing that clip now that you brought it up. But so before the draft was even over, you had it in your mind like, hey, I'm going to Baltimore. Like that's it.
No, we knew. Like I was already signed. Like
Really? You'd already signed the papers for us. That's so crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
These teams are, because I guess the perception from an outsider, and I think for a lot of people, is like, okay, as soon as that the timer hits, right? If it's a picture, the image in my head is like a war room, just sitting and waiting for the clock hand to like hit a certain time. Then they start going after free agents. But if they're waiting that long, they're definitely going to miss out on guys. So I guess they're just doing their due diligence right away and locking you up. That's got to feel, at least from your perspective, I'd assume like, hey, these guys came after me. Probably one of the first guys they reached out to. I would assume if it was during the draft, it's got to feel pretty sweet, huh?
For sure. Yeah. No, it feels great. It feels great.
We're gonna talk about a lot of that as far as the whole priority, free agent, all those things are just interesting. But as far as you're concerned, what's next in the process for you, and when is report date?
So I report for minicamp on. I leave Denver on Thursday.
Okay.
And we'll start. You really just hit the ground running. So
Damn,
Thursday is report day.
that is wild.
Yeah. Yep.
Congrats, sign the paper, and you better start packing like now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is pretty crazy, man. But I wanted to backtrack a little bit to February. You get picked 62nd overall in the USFL draft to the Philadelphia Stars. Now, obviously, the goal for you, for a lot of guys, that eventually is the NFL, right? But did you have any inclination that you'd be signing a deal already at this stage? And now what happens to that potential USFL position there?
So I mean, USFL. It's good that it's there. I'm always appreciative. They gave me my first. The Philadelphia Stars gave me my first professional opportunity. Drafting me, and I think at the time we were still hopeful that I was going to get signed, or whatever that may be in the NFL, but it just worked out to where I'm in the NFL now. So the USFL, we're not on that stage anymore, which is good. But
I hear you. Yeah, no, I hear you.
in the moment, it was cool. It was very, very, very cool. It was very exciting. So, and I would have been okay if that was what we were dealing with. But
I got you.
Yeah, that's really it.
Ty, you got something?
So my question is, you say you get the call from the Ravens and you basically lock it in before the draft. Like, what's your feeling after that? Is that like it's obviously not as good as getting drafted, but is that your like sigh of relief? Like, all right, I know what I got going on now. I'm no longer in the dark. Like, explain the emotions that you're going through the draft, and then when you finally get that call from the Ravens.
No doubt. I mean, I guess going through the draft, it was still fun to like watch it, but you still like don't know anything until you do. So, I mean, yeah, that's it's going through the dark, and then you finally, it's kind of like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel in a sense. And just getting that call it put a lot of my worries and stuff to rest. So I was able to kind of just focus on the future now and just worry about being a Baltimore Raven.
I like that, man. Yeah, it's like there's so many uncertainties for a guy in your position where, you were in a better position than most guys were because for worst, you got something to fall back on, right? A lot of these guys don't have that other professional opportunity, which is, had to have you in a different mindset. But for a lot of these guys, man, like the uncertainties of like, what if I don't get a shot? Now, do I train full time? Do I go get a 9 to 5? Do I work part time and still pursue this football deal? I think that is where the dream kind of, for the first time for a lot of these guys, like really comes into question. So talk about that, like having almost a security blanket, that being the USFL.
No, it is. I mean, it's cool that I can honestly say like plan A, plan B. It's both. It's football. Like,
Yeah, seriously, dude, that's
football.
awesome.
Like I'm a professional no matter what league it is. Like, and I have that to fall back on. So, like I said, just super blessed, super appreciative of the opportunity that the Stars provided me back in February, and yeah.
I know, I hear you, man. You said it. I remember, like, specifically, like, a good one. Like, we had back in high school, did like a little XFL show, and we had one of the wide receivers from the Roughnecks on the show, and he's sitting there with his AirPods, and he's got this like lawn service T-shirt on, and I was like, what, I just saw like a little grasshopper logo or something. And he was like, oh yeah, I was doing lawn care, and then got picked up, and now I just scored 2 touchdowns in a professional football game.
Yeah.
Like for some guys, man, it is like he was cutting grass and then coming back home, eating, going to train. And that dynamic for me, obviously you respect the hustle and the grind that these guys have, but it's hard to sustain that. So I think that's really awesome. But I want to talk about your career at Pueblo a little bit. You grew up in Aurora, it looked like, and from what I saw was about just, hour and a half north or so of Pueblo. What made you want to stay close to home?
Just that, exactly what you said, is just staying close to home. I wanted to do that just because it's I don't know. I'm Colorado.
Yeah.
I've been here my whole life, so I that was big for me, is just kind of staying close to home for college, and it was nice to have my parents at all my games, and
Definitely makes the transition a lot easier.
Biggest deciding factor.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Now, your red shirt, you started to show some real, I guess it's just me looking at stats. I wasn't there to watch every game on the sideline, you know what I mean? But you started to show some real progress after your sophomore year, and then boom, COVID hits. It feels like, you had this linear progression. COVID hits. That could be a deciding factor for a lot of guys. Does that trajectory continue after the pandemic because you guys don't play like us in 2020? Or do you continue to develop? But you come out of that as a full-time starter, and you're filling up all the stat categories. You become what seems to me a core part of that defense. So what happened over COVID with you?
Over COVID was actually super eventful. So
okay,
I guess the main thing that happened during COVID is our defensive coordinator passed away. Coach Don Leomidi, yeah, he.
Are you serious?
He did. So he had cancer. He'd been battling cancer for years, like since even before I got to college, and actually July 4th, so 4th of July 2020, he actually passed away. So that was definitely the biggest thing that added some motivation for sure. But during COVID, I mean, it was, and we saw him during COVID too. Like he was still out there and stuff. He was really like with us until he took his last breath. So
man, I am sorry to hear. That is like, talk about like just commitment and things like that. And also, I mean, July 4th is my birthday too, which is absolutely unreal. Holy cow. Talk like just the absolute opposite of emotions. But, with all else, without that, I mean, I have to imagine you guys as a unit, as a team, kind of bonded and moved forward through that. I'd have to imagine, talk about the emotions within that locker room moving forward from an event like that.
Yeah, it definitely brought everyone closer on the team. I think it improved our team chemistry. It's bad circumstances, but that's just how it goes sometimes, and we got through it. I think everybody was motivated by it, just how he was out there because he was fighting cancer the whole time. He was like a coach. So just seeing him, it's like if he can do that, like why can't we do an extra rep? Why can't you go harder the next play? Stuff like that. So
yeah, man, what's your excuse, right? Like he didn't have one. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that. That's strong stuff. Holy shit. But you know, it feels almost dumb to just continue to talk just about football when like that's like super meaningful point in a lot of guys' lives. But finally this last year, man, personally, you put it all together. First team All-American, RMAC Defensive Player of the Year. That's got to be gratifying to almost tie up your college career in a neat bow and leave on that note. Talk about what this past season has brought to you in the squad.
Yeah, this past season was huge. It started off just better than any other season has, and I think I had a better off season. Just everything it just came together at the perfect time. And my junior year was good. Sophomore year was all right. But really just that transition from like junior year was like I grew up like as a person, as a football player. Like I just took an extra step in everything that I did, and it showed up on the field. So.
Yeah. I'd definitely say so, man. I think the people handing out those awards would probably agree too, huh? But again, moving forward, talking mindset about going to camp with the Ravens, right? The possibility of having to relearn a lot of things at your position, because we know that at that level, sometimes you get in there depending on who you've been coached by, and teams just want to break you all the way down and build you back up the way they want you, right? So talk about your mindset of potentially having to relearn a lot and just being a sponge and absorbing everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm trying to come in there and be a sponge, just ask a bunch of questions, carry a notepad around and just take notes of everything, just soak up everything that I can. Learn things, just try to learn things as fast as I can and really lock it in. That's just, I mean, make it my life.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, man. You want a shot because, you know, other guys are going to. So I'm with you 100%, but not to, you know, I know you're not going to be like fanboying anybody over there in Baltimore, but I have to imagine there's a couple guys in that roster that if you walk in the building there, you're going to be like an oh shit type of moment. That's going to be pretty cool. Anyone that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, first off the bat, you got Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Highest paid player ever. I think that's yes.
Yes.
If it's gonna be any quarterback you keep off of in practice, that's gonna be the one.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Not touching him.
Stay the hell away. I mean, the hard part is you got to catch him to touch him.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part.
Dude's a freak.
Yeah. Now you got OBJ coming over to Baltimore. Trying to what else they did.
Zay Flowers.
Draft wise, Zay Flowers in that first round. Shore up
Sampson.
the wide receiver room. Who else?
Trent Sampson.
Yep.
Linebacker from Clemson.
Yep.
That boy athlete.
So definitely a lot of high profile names over there in a franchise that has been like this close.
And they signed that one dude.
Who?
From Pueblo, Trey Botts.
From what?
From Pueblo, Trey Botts.
Oh, Trey. That's that. Yeah.
Folks nice as hell.
Talented dude. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I remember he was playing against GV. Sure, he was getting active.
But in all seriousness, man, like we're really excited for you. I know you've got a couple fans in us over here. I'm excited to hopefully follow along and see your name make that 53 man and moving forward, whatever it looks like for you, dude.
Yes, sir. Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
Trey, you're the man. We'll be in touch, brother. All right.
Sure, sounds good. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. See you. Bye. Appreciate Trey coming on. Unfortunately, does not sound like Jimmy will be joining us tonight. Had some technology problems. I don't know how we
technological.
You had it the second time, gang.
Technological difficulties.
There you go. Technical, I think is the word you're looking for.
Oh yeah, technical.
So he didn't have the second time, then.
Yeah, right.
My bad. But we'll touch on some of the pieces that Jim was going to touch on as far as the Division III players getting the opportunities at the next level. Before we get to talking about the undrafted free agents and the camps, mini camp invites, you're talking about the two guys that got drafted. The first being Ethan Evans. He was the round 7 pick, 223 to the Rams, and then our very own Jake Witt in the 7th round pick 236
Yes, sir.
to the Indianapolis Colts. Was super excited to see that one go through.
I think it was either 1 or 2 before Max Duggan, which is pretty sick.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Like,
and he went to where, the Chargers?
Yeah, just think about that. Like, he's playing the national championship last year.
Yeah, he was playing the national championship, and then our guy got picked ahead of him.
That's pretty dope.
Which is that's pretty crazy. The Ethan Evans guy from Wingate, he is the punter from Wingate, and I showed you some of the videos, I believe, right, from his Instagram the other day. And when I say this guy's a punter, like, this guy probably could outlift just about his entire team. I gotta find. I gotta pull this up real quick because.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah, you guys are gonna get a good reaction out of this, but I gotta pull it up on the account. Let's see here. All right. Ethan Evans, in his bio here, I'll get it pulled up so that people watching can see. It says 4th down quarterback for the Rams. Absolutely love that. But if we take a look at some of these videos, this dude is insane.
Yeah, he's yoked.
Look at this guy. 585 by 4. Holy shit. That is moving. That weight has no business moving that quickly.
That dude's yoked, dude.
For a punter of all people. That's good depth,
That's
too.
good form.
Yeah.
Really good depth.
I don't even think I could get that right now.
Yo, low bar squatter, too.
I mean, what'd I get today? 675.
You can watch. You watch some more of these. Like, it's not a one-off either. Like, this dude is just putting up these lifts on a daily basis.
I'd have drafted his ass, too.
Yo, look at this dude, bro.
This guy moves weight. I
like-
absolutely love it.
This is evolutionized Mikey Carlin, dude.
This, but
This is what this
if
is
you're the
next
Rams,
power up.
question for you: if you're the Rams and you see him, this is his whole feed. The dude is obviously very passionate about it. So shout out to him. Love to see this from anyone. But he's running out of room on the bar. He's got so many weights on there. If you're the Rams, though, I'd have to imagine.
Chill out, fam.
I don't think they're going to let him train. Like, seriously, though, I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to let him train like this. Would you agree?
Did you? The fool just popped the weight off because he slammed it.
Did he actually? I didn't. I think I cut it off too quick.
No, it got to start over because he had bands on it at first.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
Bro, it shot off the end of the bar game.
Here we go. The bands are on to begin. We can verify. And he starts. It pops off.
Watch. I wouldn't lie to you.
The camera's shaking.
Oh my gosh, bro.
And you get to yelling at the end. Holy shit. That is insane.
That's dope.
That is really crazy. But seriously, though, on a real note, like, I think the Rams would probably say, hey, buddy, like, no more of this. Like, you're going to hurt yourself. And he probably disagrees because he's probably really knowledgeable about a lot of the lifting
Probably done it
techniques.
forever, yeah.
Exactly. But if you're the Rams, your punter does not need to be a power lifter, right?
Hey, bro, I bet not see more than 315 on the squat rack ever again from you.
As far as
Because you throw your back out if you want to. You're going to be back on the streets of Wingate. Wherever that's at.
Wingate made a run in the national tournament this year for D2. They were a big underdog story.
I remember
Took
they was
out
going
the one
crazy.
seed. IUP,
The
I
uniforms
believe.
was hard. Remember, I was
The
giving
uniforms are hard.
props.
And here he is in that uniform doing some actual punting. But yes, their uniforms are pretty clean right there. That's a pretty clean colorway.
I like their helmets.
Logo.
You can't mess up Navy and Gold. man.
No, that logo's sick too, the Bulldog.
Yeah, you cannot
Come
go
on.
wrong with that, man.
So did play in the Shrine Bowl, as you can see right here, which is a pretty cool piece from him. I do believe he has some videos of him punting up here. And, I mean, dude's got a boot, obviously. Look at the hang
Holy
time on
shit.
that. Look at that shit. That's impressive, dude. From an outsider who knows very little about punting, this seems incredibly impressive. That ball launches off the foot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Me beating the punter aficionado I am. What we're looking at is the complex dragon fruit punt. You punt it off the inside forefoot of your non-kicking leg.
Oh.
And you try to get as much hang time to get your punt team down there to cover. This is more of a punt that we look for when you're up 4 to 6 points in the fourth quarter of a game and you're just looking to pin the opponent deep and you're scared of kicking the field goal in hopes of missing and giving the opponent great field position.
Thank you for that commentary. But in all seriousness, congrats to Ethan. Certainly deserves it. Super talented in his position. And, I mean, for a punter, let alone D2, but for a punter to get that pick at anywhere in the draft, super impressive. Also for Jake, we were super excited for him. Looking to get him back in here. You got to get his big ass back on that couch to talk about it, man. I'm excited. But it could be positional value, could be just certain demand for this year's draft. Only 2 D2 players drafted.
That's wild.
I feel like it's a really low number. Last year, there were at least 5 or 6 that got drafted and then obviously more that got picked up as free agents. But it felt like the hype and everything leading into the draft that there was more talent available. I mean, the new NCAA sack leader in Caleb Murphy doesn't get picked. That was a shocker for me. Joey Fisher out of Shepherd not being selected.
I thought he'd have got drafted.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with you because he doesn't have Jake Witt numbers athleticism-wise, but really good numbers out of him. And
I thought
along
he'd
with
have got
that,
drafted. I thought Caleb would have got drafted. I didn't think the quarterback from Shepherd was going to get drafted.
Bagent, yeah.
Yeah, just because, like,
Into the Bears, right?
quarterback's
He
so
did.
gimpy. Like, if you're not one of the top prospects, they don't even really care. Like, I didn't think Max Duggan was going to get drafted, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Because
He's a gamer.
they just don't seem like the players where, like, they're going to survive in the NFL.
One thing to note is that corner was the most selected position in this year's draft. And
What was
none of the
second?
guys, what was that?
What was second?
I don't know. I just got the first.
True.
But I just noted that. I thought it was worth noting because off of this list of guys we're about to read off that were signed as undrafted free agents, none of them DBs or let alone corners. So that could have been part of it too. Is that was just a need that that teams wanted the corners and
The corner from Saginaw got picked up.
Yeah, Whiteside.
That's true. Yeah, one exception to my list.
But
Damn it.
no, it's because, bro, like, you real life just, you try to draft people who may be able to stop these unstoppable receivers.
Yep. I get
Because
that.
that's
I get
that, like, if you are truly shut down in today's day and age, you are one of a kind.
Mhm.
So, like, it's a premium to have a really good corner now in today's NFL. And then even then, not really. Because there's only so much covering that you're going to be able to do.
Yeah. Anyone in the defensive
That's
backfield,
facts.
right? Anyone in the defensive backfield, I think.
So
it
it's
goes-
kind of
applies to.
crazy.
Yeah. As far as guys who were signed, a lot of these guys priority undrafted free agents. Shepherd had 4 of them in the PSAC. Quarterback
wild.
Tyson Bagent, the 2021 Harlan Hill winner, he goes to the Bears. Running back Ronnie Brown, who had a blazing 40 time and a really good pro day, he ends up going to Tampa Bay to join the Buccaneers. Offensive lineman Joey Fisher is going to San Francisco with the 49ers. And finally, their tight end Brian Walker, who I had not heard much about, signed with the Ravens as well. So that's really sweet. And I saw a tweet right here that I'll pull up. We asked a little bit earlier about the salary for some of these guys, right? And this was something that I saw. Pull it up here. According to Aaron Wilson, he says 49ers deal for undrafted Shepherd University offensive lineman Joey Fisher, $130,000 guaranteed, $115,000 of base salary guaranteed, plus $15,000 signing bonus. Those are the numbers there for what was probably a pretty highly touted priority free agent, because this was a guy that was fielding a lot of calls and was expected to be drafted. You know, a lot of the evaluations for him were upward at least to the 5th round. So those are some numbers right there. I don't know what these numbers look like for everybody else. Like Jake Witt's numbers will be very interesting as a 7th rounder. But those are some that we can kind of base it off. I thought that was interesting to look at. But moving on here, as we check out some of the other guys, the Shepherd. How about that Shepherd crew, though? That's pretty impressive. That's why they made a run.
Yeah, that's dope.
But the GLIAC, we had 5 signed from the GLIAC, and the first one being that NCAA's new sack leader, Caleb Murphy. He is going to the Titans from Ferris State, heading down to Tennessee. You have offensive lineman Quentin Barrow from GVSU. He was signed to the USFL, or selected, I should say, to the USFL,
drafted,
not
like, I think
signed.
2nd round.
He was. And now takes a free agent opportunity with the Chiefs in Kansas City. Our boy Trevor Nowaski from Saginaw, the linebacker. He had a really good pro day, ran sub 4.5s, using that 4.4 range for a linebacker. Really impressive. He's staying home. He's staying with the Lions. And you guys weren't here for that episode, I believe. But Trevor and I were talking to him, and he said that was like dream, basically, for him. So shout out to Trevor. I think that's so sweet,
Before
man.
he got picked.
Yeah, shout out
before
Trevor
he
Lee.
saying-
Wish you could have came on the show today.
What'd you say?
Before he was saying like it'd be a dream to go play for the Lions, like that's what he was saying.
Yeah, he was saying, that basically is that, like, how sweet would it be to stay home and, like, play for the
that's sick.
Lions?
Y'all don't know him, but Darko signed to the Lions, too.
Yeah, I saw
Darko
that.
did sign the
He went
Lions
to
out of
Catholic
Illinois.
Central.
Huh?
He went to a school in Michigan, high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on that note, too, what was I about to say? Oh, Nowaski. He went to the Lions' local pro day. A lot of those teams do the local pro day to evaluate local talent. And I think a lot of people see that and they're like, oh, they're just doing that to get people out. Like, they don't really, you know what I mean? Just like a, what's the word? Like, oh, I just have to do that, right? Like, oh, you know, a little bit of a pity type factor.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Like the Kaepernick workout.
Damn. Like the Kaepernick workout.
It's a show for the NFL.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah. Can't say we didn't.
Can't
right?
say we ain't do it.
But that obviously is not the case for some of these teams. I mean, Trevor went to that, showed out at that local pro day, that workout, and now he's going to have a chance to compete for part of that roster, which is really exciting.
That's dope.
How about that linebacker core would be so sweet to be a part of, dude?
Oh,
Wouldn't
yeah.
it?
Rodriguez, Campbell, Anzalone,
Yeah. It'd be pretty sweet, dude. That'd be really sweet.
Nowaski.
It's a name. Just throw it in there, man. It's sick. His teammate.
Derek Barnes.
Yes, Derek Barnes and I'm blanking on another outside.
Cameron Reeves-Maybin now.
Is he? Okay. He's coming off injury?
No, we just signed him again. Remember from the
did?
Texans?
I got you.
Jalen Reeves-Maybin, not Cameron.
Yep. His teammate, Nowaski's teammate, the one DB on this list, Nick Whiteside. He from Saginaw is going to the Commanders, and he's a guy that has made All-American, All-Region teams for the last couple of years out of Saginaw. Went through a pretty substantial injury, I believe, a few years back, but has rebounded and has been playing some really good football. And I think as someone that has flown under the radar for a little bit, but has certainly gotten his recognition as far as the accolades go, super excited for him. And then finally, wide receiver Cy Barnett out of Davenport, former Ferris wide receiver, goes to Davenport, has absolute breakout numbers over there for the Panthers. He's going to play for the Saints. So 5 guys from the GLIAC.
Yep.
That's
Pretty sweet stuff.
Yeah.
And then a 6th, if you count Jake Witt being drafted, right? So 6 guys from our league, guaranteed chances going to play in the pros. That's really special stuff, guys.
Yeah,
It's really sweet. Moving down the list, though, a couple other guys to shout out here. I mean, not going to stay on any of them for too long, but running back out of Fort Valley State, Emmanuel Wilson, is going to the Broncos. That is that, I believe that's a league mostly comprised of HBCUs, Savannah State, Central State, a couple other of teams in those leagues, in that league that I'm not too familiar with. Out of Ashland, Michael Ayers to the Seahawks. That's a dude that had all these guys, I can say it for every one of them, had really good pro days. And that's, I think, is what it takes to get you to that next level, because
production and film, but they got to see you. Yep. They got to see it in the flesh. That's all.
That was the short-winded version of what I was exactly going to say. I think you're 100% right. You put it on tape, but who are you putting it on tape against, right? It's a bunch of other D2 guys, and they need to see it, that you have the numbers that stack up to these big college opponents. A defensive lineman out of Lane College, Andrew Farmer, is going to the Chargers, another guy that was drafted to the USFL. Wide receiver out of Oklahoma Baptist, Keelan Harris, is going to the Falcons. And then we had a guy I was really excited about, wide receiver out of West Florida, David Durden. And I think, Ty, had you said you saw something about when I don't know if it was you or Trevor, that it said when they played Ferris, you had seen him playing. It might have been Trev.
No, it was definitely Trev.
Dude is a stud. He's been balling out down there. We had Pee Wee Jarrett on the podcast, their quarterback, and he had some nice things to say about David. He's going to play for the Cowboys. And then finally, out of Northwood, John Hall to the Seahawks.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
I didn't see that one coming at all.
No.
I still don't remember him.
Yeah. So the thing is, too, and I talked to a couple of my buddies down there, is that he's flown under the radar a lot because he only played 6 games this last season, was hurt, and missed basically the whole second half of the year.
I don't remember him playing against us.
No?
No.
He was on You Got Moss, too, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
Which is pretty crazy. Don't remember the name at all?
I don't remember him. I think I remember seeing like NFL level talent going against us.
Yeah, you would think, right?
Like he must not have played against us.
Yeah.
Or they just one throwing him the ball or something. Like you would be able to see like, all right, shorty, nice. That's something like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hear you, dude.
He runs like a 4.4, doesn't he?
Yeah, again, like I said, for all these guys, like, yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but had a very good pro day, showed out, and now is getting a shot at the next level. Now, camp invites, as far as those go, again, I just like shouting these guys out because it's just so sweet to see that these guys are all getting opportunities. Let's start with our guy out of Benedictine, NAIA school. Chim Okorafor is going to the Eagles, dude.
Yes, sir.
That's really sweet. That's super cool. And like
That's our guy, bro.
That is. He was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy who has that security blanket, right, of the USFL. I'm sure that if something doesn't pan out, I'm sure they would probably still take him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's got to be nice heading into that. He certainly has the frame to play professionally at some level. So really excited for Chim. The wide receiver out of Colorado Mines that we had mentioned earlier, Josh Johnston. He's going to the Broncos. He was a guy who caught a ton of passes from Matoka there in Mines. Defensive lineman at Millersville, it's a D2. Tyler Tate is going to the Steelers. You had an offensive lineman at the Division III Aurora University. They made it to the playoffs this last year. Chris Toth is going to the Bears. And then a DB that we talked about a little bit on the show, Anthony Kendall from Baldwin Wallace, Division III school, has gotten invites to both the Jets and Browns minicamps.
Nice.
So do you choose between either one of those?
I guess so, right? So how does that work? I mean, you just as a player would you look and say, which one of these do I have a better
shot.
chance of making the team, right? Is that kind of how that would go, you imagine?
Yeah.
What goes into what do you think plays into that? The existing DB
Depth,
room, the scheme?
coaching. I mean, you could have had a guy that was like your freshman year of college. You could have had a guy that was an analyst at your school, and now he's,
Yep.
and doing some behind the work in the NFL world.
If
or
you got
just,
a connection?
just random shit like that. I feel like as another, like, if I had a coach that coached me in high school and now he's on the Browns scouting staff, you know what I mean? Like,
That'd be pretty clutch.
I'm gonna be leaning towards the Browns heavily, or more heavy
Yeah.
than I would be the Jets.
Yeah, but I mean, I really wanted to go through that list just to shout out all these guys that have gotten these opportunities. And even though we only had 2 Division II guys drafted, I think there will be a decent number of these guys that will stick on rosters.
Yeah, definitely.
They're not all of them, certainly not all of them, because if it were that easy, then the NFL wouldn't be the NFL, right?
Right.
But you could go through this list, and there will be a couple guys that will certainly stick on these rosters, make these 53-mans. We saw Jared Bernhardt doing last year, which was almost surprising, especially making position change over to wide receiver. But when you have that pure athleticism, when you have a guy who I'm assuming, again, I don't know the guy, but I'm assuming is just totally bought in and works on his craft consistently, certainly can make the opportunities for themselves. Super excited for those guys. But let's talk about the draft in a little bit of a different perspective. The Lions catching a little bit of flack for their early draft picks. And for those who live under a proverbial stone, we can recap some of their draft picks. They had 6 originally, the 6th pick.
Yeah.
Yep. They trade back. At number 12, they get Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama. And that
It's my
was
favorite running
one,
back in the draft.
Was it?
Yeah.
That was one that a lot of people had scratching their heads, right? Because they thought he had second-round evaluations, quote, per a bunch of people who don't play football and aren't GMs.
No, he wouldn't have made it out the first round. I don't think. He'd have got picked up towards the
He
end.
doesn't
Kamara,
sound
dude.
like it.
Yeah,
Kamara 2.0.
No, he's not. He's faster than Alvin Kamara. That's a bad comp. He more Christian McCaffrey
Bro,
than
watch,
Alvin Kamara.
look at no, but watch his tape, bro. It's Kamara, dude.
He way faster than Kamara.
Not really.
Yes, Kamara ran like a low 4.5, like a high 4.5. He ran in the 4.3s. He not Alvin Kamara.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He was that fast?
Jahmyr Gibbs ran in a 4.3. He ran a 4.39.
Damn.
I feel like he's side to side. He's like Kamara. If I like just watching him.
I
You
did
just
not
said
know
that because he. I ain't gonna say that.
Yeah,
But look.
that's why I'm saying it.
I know, but look,
He's joking.
I know
What?
he would have been there at 18.
You think so?
Hell yeah.
So, supposedly,
The Packers weren't gonna take him. Who went 14th? Don't matter. They wouldn't have took him. The Commanders wouldn't have took him. The Patriots wouldn't have took him. He'd have been there at 18.
supposedly the
And that
Patriots
linebacker
were
for
going to
sure
take
would
him.
have been there in the second round.
I'll say this. Suppose this is per Holmes, right? Brad Holmes had said that he got multiple messages from other GMs that said basically good pick and that we are going to take him before 18, like 100%. Like that, he would have been snatched up.
The Patriots were not picking Jahmyr Gibbs over Christian Gonzalez.
Oh.
That wasn't y'all could. I mean, I ain't gonna say y'all. I am gonna say y'all. Y'all could try to slice it and be like, it was a good pick. It wasn't a good for that value. Hell no.
I like our draft. Now I like.
The more I sit on it, I really do like it. And I think
we arguably got the best safety in the draft in the second, third round.
Who Brian
second
Branch?
round, 45th overall.
He can't run either.
Ty just hating today. He had time today.
I ain't hating. It's a reason. It was a reason he was mocked in the first round, like top 14 picks, and went in the second round.
And it's the same reason why Jahmyr Gibbs was mocked later on, but was going to get picked in the first round. Because I think there's just this disconnect, and that's why I hate the weeks leading up to the draft, because all these people making mock drafts and doing these evaluations have nothing to do with the ownership and the GMs of these teams.
So what Jahmyr Gibbs gonna give you?
It's ridiculous. What
he not giving you 20 touches. He too little.
We got 2 backs that are going to split the load. He doesn't have to give 20 touches a game.
Exactly. You could have drafted somebody else to split the load.
We have another guy to split the load, Montgomery.
I'm saying y'all could have drafted another running back in later rounds to split the load.
Yeah, but why not? But this is the thing. Holmes and Campbell had their guys. They went and got their guys. That's the thing. That's why I don't hate it, dude. But the
12th pick, hell, no way you try to slice that, bro.
But who you taking at 12?
That's not. I'd have took a corner. I'd have took somewhere. I'd have took anything other than a running back at 12. Y'all didn't need a running back, not at 12. Y'all could have ran with DeAndre Swift for another year.
Yeah, but he's on a contract year, and he it's hurt all the last 2 years. Like that's probably what's going
He's been
through their head, too.
inconsistent, and it's tough to see him go because he's an extremely talented back. Right
Now he's the best running back in the NFL. Apparently.
Yeah, apparently
now that
he's
he's off
Eagles.
the Lions.
Now he's with the Eagles. But that's how that works. But the thing that makes me feel good about all of it is you watch this video of Holmes and you're like, I don't care what grade they get or whatever. When you see a guy have this reaction to getting his first round draft pick, and he's just a guy like that's just the emotions that he has all the time. Like, this is nothing out of the ordinary.
Do you see him hit Campbell in the stomach?
Yeah. Well, I'll rewind it because that's also hilarious. But when you see this type of reaction from a draft room, like I don't care about whatever value, whatever. If they get their guys that they feel fit their culture and are going to be an impact, like he's going to be an immediate impact offensively, whether it be 20 touches or less, whatever it is, right?
No,
like,
he is. I don't think he's not a bet. Nigga, like I said, that was my favorite running back in the draft. I think everybody loved Bijan Robinson. Jahmyr Gibbs is not too far off. But just like the Falcons shouldn't have took Bijan Robinson at 8, y'all shouldn't have took Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
Running back
because y'all
is an
didn't need a running
position.
back. It's not even about the devaluation. Y'all didn't need a running back.
Stats say that top 15 running backs don't work out like when they get drafted.
No, they don't. If you drop a running back in the top half of the draft, they usually be raw as hell.
No, I saw a tweet that was like top 15 running backs have blah 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 amounts of snaps played in something in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know.
It's just very hit or miss the position. I think it's all, you know what I mean? It's just very hit or miss the position because the position by nature is so reliant on other things, right? You have your offensive line, you have your scheme, and all of these things dictate a player's game, right? If a certain running back that plays a certain style is drafted to a team that is very contrast to that style, it's not a position that he is going to flourish in, right? So that's something they have to consider. And if they get a guy that they feel fits what they're trying to do with this offense, with Ben Johnson's offense, I'm excited for it. And Cade, let me rewind and get that so you can see Holmes here, after he gets up, gives Coach right here an elbow to the gut. Ready? Boom. And then Coach has got to walk it off, and you'll see him bend over and hold it right here.
Got the wind knocked out of him.
Right there, look, right there. He's got the hand on the gut. He's like, oh, shit, he got me. He got me.
That's funny as hell.
Look, watch that one more time. Right. Oh, it already happened. Hold on. And wham.
So I got a question. All bias aside, y'all think Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 was a good pick?
No, I don't think it's a good pick. I'm saying, looking at our draft, like if you're to take the numbers away from the picks on our draft.
No, y'all got good players, but you can't do that though. You can't be like, don't look at where they got selected. At 12.
I never said I liked the 12th pick, but
all right, I was making sure that you weren't sitting here
at the same time. And I didn't like the pick at 18 either.
Yeah,
I didn't like Campbell either.
It was a bad first round.
Y'all
didn't get bad players, but for where y'all selected them,
I also feel like the it was way heavier this draft. Like personally, like the talent wise was way more heavy in like day 2, day 3, like second, third rounds. I feel like there's a bunch of guys that like could have been first rounders, but just like
it's all over the place.
Something had
them make that argument every year. Really, I mean, it's tough. But I get what you mean. Like there weren't guys that were the face of each position group, right in this first round. I don't think that happened. Right, there weren't like highlighted guys. There were a couple, and they got picked very early. Right, those first couple picks. Then when you drop off,
I thought the Bears gonna get Jalen Carter, dude, and I was gonna lose it because I know Jimmy would be fucking.
I'm glad they didn't
having a great time.
Yeah, from Northwestern.
Yeah, he's gonna play guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna play. His arms too little. He's gonna play guard.
Yeah, but we break through the rest of the Lions draft here. They get Gibbs at 12. They go and pick Jack Campbell, the linebacker from Iowa, at 18. And I'll agree with you 100%. Like, that's a guy that probably would be around a little bit later in the draft. But, again, if you have the pick there, if you really think this is a guy that fits your program, just take him. Just draft him. And, like,
they're doing nothing for me not to trust them.
Yeah, to hell with, like, and that's the thing, too. Like, if this were Patricia and Quinn drafting,
I'd be losing my mind.
Cade would have not shown up for the podcast tonight. But since these guys from last year, right, they've earned the trust of a lot of this fan base, I think they're being a little bit more lenient with how much they're allowing them to, without criticism. You know what I mean? Which I think it's earned. It's very much earned. Going into round 2, you get Sam Laporta, tight end out of Iowa, pick number 34, and then Brian Branch, the safety out of Alabama, at pick 45 that a lot of people were really excited about. They thought they were going to potentially go that route earlier, right?
Yeah, he could play football. He nice.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't run well, so that's why I think he ran like a 4.6. So that's why, like I said, he was supposed to go.
That's why he dropped.
Top 15.
He's best safety in the draft.
Then the pick that a lot of people were excited about, Hendon Hooker in round 3, pick 68,
huge.
quarterback out of Tennessee, coming off the ACL injury.
I don't get that at all.
Just as an insurance policy, no?
You should have just took Will Levis at 18 then.
You think?
Hendon Hooker already 25. He coming off ACL. He not playing next year. Jared Goff under contract for the next, 2 years?
This is last year.
I believe it's the last contract year, but I could be wrong.
Well, I just saw someone on Twitter saying they finna give him an extension.
I mean, I would assume so. Why not? The way he's been playing?
I wouldn't.
Assuming he doesn't just drop off the face of the earth this year?
I'd have drafted somebody else over Hendon Hooker. Because Hendon Hooker ain't going to give you much. By the time Hendon Hooker get ready to play, he's going to be 27, 28 at the most.
I thought you just said he was 25.
He's 25 right now. Next year, he's going to be 26. I guarantee you this is not Jared Goff last year playing football for the Detroit Lions.
Like I said, that's why you have insurance, though. When I said insurance policy, you don't plan on using insurance.
You go get an insurance policy on somebody who done played. Not somebody who bro, Hendon Hooker didn't throw nothing but fades at Tennessee. I swear, if you go watch the tape, he didn't throw nothing but fade routes. Bro, I'd have gave AJ McCarron some money he couldn't. I don't care how much you want to play. We're going to throw you so much money, you're going to come be a backup.
Yeah, instead of in the XFL for the Battlehawks.
You feel me? I want to play. No, you want to sit and get this bag in Detroit, fam. Come get you some buffs.
Listen here, buddy.
Finally rounded it out. Still third round, pick 96. We get Broderick Martin, the defensive tackle out of Western Kentucky. And then fifth round, pick 152, Colby Sorsdahl from William & Mary, the offensive tackle. And finally, Antoine Green, the wide receiver from North Carolina in round 7. That's the pick that they swapped with Philly and went up and got him. All in all, I'm with you, Ty. Like, it feels like the way they got these players, it's potentially not the best.
It's not. I like the draft.
I said, if you take the numbers away and you just give us the players, you'd be like, all right, they had a pretty good fucking draft. You know what I mean?
But you can't look at it in that way.
But the way that they got them definitely left a lot of people scratching their heads. And
12? Hell no. Especially not going to be no bell cow. Hell no. Hell no.
I hear you. But maybe that's just the way that these guys draft, right? It's a different way of going about it, a different way of evaluating players, and that's something that
only time will tell.
Holmes and Campbell have said. It's true. Like a year from now, we could totally be one way or another on the whole topic, but that's something that they've said is that we're going to pick the best player available, and not necessarily position-based. Obviously, they know they have to address certain positions, but that's what they've said in the past multiple times. They've reinstated that we are going to pick the best player that we feel is available on the board. It doesn't, or at least it shouldn't matter what position
in their eyes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, interesting pieces. Lamar finally gets his deal done. 5 years, $260 million, 185 guaranteed. He's the highest paid player in NFL history, beating out Jalen Hurts.
Until next year when Burrow gets it, and then the year after that, then it's Herbert, and then the year after that, it's Mahomes again, and then the year after that, it's Allen again, and then
not Mahomes again. He's locked up for like 10 years.
I know.
No, he gonna be getting a new deal soon.
Why would he do that? To catch up?
Why wouldn't he?
To catch up with the money? He already got it locked up.
To maximize, you maximize out on your assets.
Can he even do that? Renegotiate?
Hell yeah, you can renegotiate anytime.
He can do anything he wants, bro. As long as it's
Patrick
ball in his
Mahomes.
hands.
He's Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna crack Kansas City over the top of the head.
Jesus.
And when he do that, Kansas City gonna be terrible because they ain't gonna be able to pay. They ain't gonna be able to pay their bills.
Like when Travis Kelce spiked the probably fake Lombardi trophy.
Yeah, I hope it was fake.
That's disrespectful of the game.
Yeah, like come on, dude. You think he'd spike the real trophy? And then what if he actually did? And I'm just saying.
I was say you sitting there talking about what he probably did. They was in Kansas City. He probably just went in.
He's probably so.
Let me see this, Lamar.
Yeah.
Doom.
Lamar
Hunt.
Oh, Lamar Hunt. I'm like, yeah, that's
damn fool.
But really though, is that how it's going to play out? Is the market just going to be reset every couple of years, and we just keep going down this?
I mean, it's
slope.
That's all it's going to be for the rest of eternity, because they only going to get more and more money every year.
The next contract will be like, what was Lamar's 260?
Joe Burrow signs for 6 years, $277 million,
$261 million,
213 guaranteed. Highest contract in NFL history.
Year after that.
Justin Herbert, $282 million, 6 years, 219 guaranteed. Highest contract in NFL history. Breaking news: Patrick Mahomes signs lifetime deal with Kansas City Chiefs. $737 million, $432 million guaranteed. There will be no reset in the market after that.
There might not. Not after a lifetime deal.
Yeah, it's
like
over.
some Nike stuff with what, like LeBron or whatever.
This nigga Patrick Mahomes on dialysis throwing spirals. So that spiral from the 62-year-old Patrick Mahomes as the Kansas City Chiefs fought a 0-9.
You got an incubator.
A clip I wanted to look at. One of the probably the best stories out of draft day. Chris Vaughn is the assistant director of college scouting for the Cowboys, and a name you're probably more familiar with is his son, Deuce Vaughn, the running back out of Kansas State that has been...
Before you started, did you hear what they said he was doing?
Who?
Chris, when they used to evaluate Deuce Vaughn, he would step out the room.
He'd walk
so
out of
he
the
wouldn't
room.
be biased.
Isn't that awesome?
And they
That's
still
dope as
drafted him.
fuck.
Yeah. Really sweet. And yeah,
I didn't know that, but that's dope.
They
That's
did
really
that,
cool.
and they still, after watching it, chose to draft him based on his skill. And this is a guy that we looked at the other day is like 5'7", 160 pounds. He's little.
He is not 5'7".
I think we might, what?
I think he went to the combine at 5'5".
You think so?
No. Are you shitting me?
Double check while I pull up the video. Go ahead and double check. But this is the clip of Deuce's father, Chris, calling him and telling him that he's going to be selected by the Cowboys.
Deuce Vaughn is 5'5", 176 pounds.
5'5", 170.
That's worse than Darren
insane.
Sproles, dude.
That's not even Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles was like...
Darren Sproles is bigger than that.
Yeah.
I said worse than Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
I thought you said it's like Darren Sproles.
No, I heard you. But here we go. This is the video of Chris calling his son Deuce.
Hey, it's going good. This is Dad. My phone wasn't working. Look at here, man. You want to come to work with me next week? I wouldn't mind that. I got somebody want to speak to you.
I don't know when I've been speaking for everybody that's really in the heart of the Dallas Cowboys is standing here with a tear in our eye. We're so happy to have you on the Dallas Cowboys.
I can't thank you enough.
Well, what I really want to say, you earned every ounce of me being able to make this call. I'm so excited. There's just something magical about this moment that may be bigger than we even realize here talking to you on the phone. But you is now a Dallas Cowboy.
You is
Daddy
now.
just hand the card in right here.
Yo, Daddy.
Got him on it. Congratulations. Hey, Deuce, Mike McCoy.
We don't need to listen to Mike. But you get
Later.
you is now a Dallas Cowboy.
Yo, Daddy's going to turn the card in right now.
Yo, Dad is going to turn it in
Go
right
ahead,
now.
Chris.
But even better than that, after they do the call and submit the card that Yo Daddy was about to go turn in, we have the let's see, the video of him actually being drafted here that I'll have to find. Maybe. Here we are. And the actual video of the reaction of Deuce being drafted is some pretty special stuff, too, and getting the reaction from his dad. Here it is.
Dad, Chris, longtime NFL scout, longtime college assistant, works for the Cowboys now, and Deuce is on his way there.
Dad threw up the measuring tape and the stopwatch here.
There he is.
And just went with what he knows is going to be a great football player.
Oh, yeah.
There's his dad on the left. That's
Look
awesome.
at him.
Look how emotional he is.
That's amazing.
All right, bro, damn, quit hitting me.
You spend your whole life in football, and your son.
They were smacking this shit.
Where are you shaking?
Man, that is awesome. How good is that? Hey, look, his kid can play, too, now.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
this guy can get
I'm giving a minute.
Pretty cool. You get
That's
the
dope,
gist.
man.
Yeah, like the whole story is
When
really
we saw
cool.
that, I'm pretty sure me and you saw that when we were watching together. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that we were both like, yeah, it's really, really cool. Regardless, like the Cowboys suck, and I hate the Cowboys, but that's really cool.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And it would suck if all this happened just for him to get.
I'm at the third round.
What?
No, it was like 5th or 6th.
No, it was later.
He won't get cut. Jerry Jones won't allow it.
No.
It's too much money.
Didn't say right there.
Too big of a storyline.
Yeah, that would be a really bad look, wouldn't it?
Too big of a.
You picked this kid just to cut him?
It's too big of a storyline.
But like on a storyline note, like that is one of the best storylines to come out of the draft, and who knows how long. That's pretty sweet, man. I think. You agree?
Bro, did y'all see the Falcons? They let somebody else they pick. He up there like.
Oh, the one who said, yeah, 28-3. We heard that one
heard
before.
that one. They had to cut his mic.
That shit was hilarious.
I'm like, Shorty was finna act a fool.
That shit was hilarious.
Or the dude who went
Hey,
up
good
there.
one. We haven't heard that one before.
Bro. It was the Titans. He was up there tweaking.
The Titans guy?
Yes. He's like, Kansas City, we coming for y'all. We got our quarterback of the future. Make sure you put mayonnaise in your coffee. I'm not knowing what he's talking about. I'm like, bro, he drunk.
Talking about Levis?
I didn't know that. I'm like, bro, he's drunk right now.
He must have been.
He eats the whole banana too, like it doesn't peel it.
And it just sucks. Like for a guy like him, for a guy like Levis, like after the season, there wasn't this hype around him and his game. But as soon as the draft started rolling around, they took him, the people who do these drafts, mocks and all this, and they took it and ran with it, and they just built him up in the media. And
hell no. He was mocked up like a motherfucker last year.
But I don't think the opinion of him was ever there with GMs, obviously. To where the media just kept pushing and pushing and pushing this shit. And, oh, he eats full bananas, and, oh, he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, and he's, blah, blah, blah. He's a stereotypical makeup of a quarterback.
He's Bo Callahan.
Bo Cal.
They
I just think without all this buildup of the draft and all this just like pressure to be putting out media about all these, I don't think that the buildup for him, I think it would have been a much more appropriate level of hype.
The only team that would have took him was the Colts.
Exactly.
And they took Richardson. So,
exactly.
Of course, you're gonna slide. And then the Titans looking at it like, who else going to draft a quarterback? Well, nobody else going to draft a quarterback. So that's why I was like, I don't think it was the media fault. Because they talked to GMs. GMs talk. But the only team that would have taken him is the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Colts saw Anthony Richardson was still up there, it was no way with the upside, and they got the coach who, you feel me, made Jalen Hurts who he is.
Yeah.
It makes too much sense. I don't think it was necessarily the media. I think it's just it wasn't that many blue chip prospects in the draft. Once you got past Bryce Young, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, everybody else is a
It was up in the air.
mark.
It was up in the air.
You don't know.
Every
Nobody's
pick,
a for sure.
I will say every pick had me on my seat.
Yeah.
Like you don't know who's gonna. That's the one thing about it. It was a weird in the most trades in draft day history ever.
It was the most trades. Yeah. Correct.
Nobody is a lock to be successful out of this draft. The only person where I'll be like, I would bet money that they have a successful career, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, Bryce Young. Everybody else, no idea.
Really?
Who else?
It's not a crazy hot take, but like
who else? And Smith and Jigba. Them the only 4 players where I'd be like, yeah, they're going to succeed no matter what.
Interesting.
I don't even know about Carter either, though.
Nah, he too raw at football. The nigga too raw at football. I ain't gonna lie. That boy is a monster.
He is crazy.
As long as he's
scary.
And they got him like around a lot of his, like that's why I ain't even mad at the pick. Cause somebody said today was like, if he go to the Bears don't have no vets. That could be like, yo, you feel me?
You're tweaking.
The Eagles got vets all across the D-line. Then they got his homies.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say they got all of his teammates
Makes too much sense.
Yeah, that's facts.
So Jalen Carter gonna be straight. Everybody else,
Lord, it was always Vontae Mack though.
Lord be with him.
It was always Vontae Mack.
I don't know who gonna be what. Boy, who else? Who else can maybe just be?
That's it for D1 Rejects. We'll be back next year, this time talking about Tyshawn's draft evaluation.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say.
I get drafted. I'm crying.
You better.
They're going to have to cut the TV for me. I'm talking about the camera on. I'm talking about. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
You ain't going to regret it, Code. That'll be all from Division 1 Rejects. Thank you for listening.